Welcome to our weekly roundup of key business developments in Sri Lanka. I'm Nishani Figuera. Let's first take a look at the stories that made headlines this week. IMF still assessing debt deal, delaying resumption of Japan-funded projects. Global giant Barclays positive on Sri Lanka. And electricity tariffs slashed. In our top story this week, according to Julie Kozak, IMF Director of Communications, the agency is still assessing if the terms of the recent debt restructuring deal with private creditors are consistent with the program parameters. She further noted that sustaining the reform momentum achieved through the program in Sri Lanka remains critical as important vulnerabilities and uncertainties still exist. Earlier this month, Sri Lanka finalized a deal with the bondholder group with a proposed base haircut of 28% on principal and the issuance of macro-linked bonds, while an 11% haircut on past due interest totaling $1.9 billion. On a related note, the Japanese International Cooperation Agency, which agreed to resume stalled projects in Sri Lanka, says it will only release the required funds after a full completion of external debt restructuring. JICA will release the required funds for the second terminal at the Bandaranaike International Airport once all debt agreements are in place. Sri Lanka is yet to finalize the deal with certain creditor groups such as China Development Bank, which holds around $3.2 billion in foreign debt. UK-based multinational Barclays Bank has asserted that it retains its overweight rating on Sri Lanka, giving it a buy rating. This view comes as the bank believes that external debt restructuring can be completed within the next few months and that the next steps will largely be formalities, with the macro situation stabilizing as well. The multinational bank estimates recovery to be at 62 cents to the dollar with an exit yield of 12%, while fair value estimates stand at 60 to 65. The bank recommends investors buy bonds with higher past due interest claims, as they should result in higher recovery values to the investor. The Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka cut electricity tariffs by an average of 22.5% following a request made by the Ceylon Electricity Board. Hotels will see a reduction of 26%, while the industrial sector will see a decrease of 25.3%. Prior to recent rate cuts, since August 2022, electricity tariffs were increased by about 140%. According to Minister Kanchana Wijesekara, Minister of Power and Energy, prices of goods and services in the market can be reduced by around 20%. The minister also highlighted that the integration of the Uma Oya hydropower plant to the national grid should also contribute to reducing the electricity bill. Fitch Ratings has withdrawn the rating of Sri Lankan airlines, citing commercial reasons, and will no longer provide ratings or analytical coverage for the national carrier. It also withdrew ratings given on a $175 million government-guaranteed bond following a failure by the airline to pay the principal interest due in June 2024. Just last week, Nima Siripala De Silva, Minister of Ports, Aviation and Shipping, expressed that the airlines will be restructured instead of being sold, as no suitable investors have expressed interest. The Institute for Health Policy showed that Sri Lanka consumer confidence expanded in June, reaching an all-time high with an overall expansion across all three consumer confidence indices. Sri Lanka Tea Board settled $60 million out of the $251 million debt owed to Iran for its fuel imports since 2011. The initiative was a strategic agreement signed between the two countries as a method of settling debt. According to Niraj Dimel, Sri Lanka Tea Board chairperson, Sri Lanka tea exports to Iran have tripled this year, with the country exporting 4.98 million kilograms during the first 5 months compared to 1.85 million a year earlier. In our weekly tourism update, during the first 14 days of July, just over 85,000 tourists arrived in the country. In the year, 1.1 million tourists have arrived. Daily arrivals were 6,102 in the month, significantly up from the 3,782 recorded in June. In the month, India was the primary source market, followed by the United Kingdom and China. The all-share price index at the Colombo Stock Exchange continues to remain subdued. Although notable foreign buying continues, local investor sentiment appeared muted. At the Treasury bill auction held on Wednesday, yields on all maturities declined from a year earlier. Bids amounting to 308 billion rupees were received, of which 110 billion were accepted. The Sri Lankan rupee appreciated against the dollar for the second consecutive week, with the central bank's indicative mid-spot rate ranging around 302 to 304 rupees. And with that, we wind up for this week. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel at the link below for regular updates on economic and business developments in Sri Lanka. Until we see you again next week, thank you for watching. Stay safe.